WTQX. The evening wireless.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. This is W.T.Q.X, transmitting on 360 meters, 833 kilocycles on your dial. You are tuned to the evening wireless for June 25th, 1926. I am Edwin Allen. Wherever this signal finds you tonight, in office, boarding house, porch swing, or quiet parlor, we are pleased to have your company. As the summer season gathers momentum and Americans increasingly turn their attention outdoors, we invite you to draw your chair a little closer and allow us to accompany you for the next little while as we consider the amusements, events, and curiosities of the recent weeks. And we thank you, friends, as always, for your kind attention. Good evening, friends. In recent days, the newspapers have carried no shortage of reports concerning aviation. There are accounts of expanded airmail service, plans for aerial exhibitions, military exercises above New York, for preparations for naval aviation, and even the construction of a new dirigible from the remains of the Shenandoah. Taken separately, these may appear to be ordinary news items. Taken together, they tell a remarkable story. It has been scarcely more than 2 decades since the Wright brothers first demonstrated that controlled flight was possible. Many listeners will remember a time when the very notion of a man ascending into the air aboard a machine seemed the province of dreamers, inventors, and writers of fanciful novels. 20 years, ladies and gentlemen. Yet here, in 1926, aviation has already become so familiar that we discuss airmail schedules with scarcely a second thought. A new airmail route between our great metropolises of Boston and Chicago will begin in 6 days' time. This route will connect at New York with the overnight service to and from Chicago, an overnight flight which greatly increases our longer distance communications, and safety for flying in darkness opens up many possibilities for further transport. We debate military preparations for aircraft as a practical matter of national policy. Just yesterday, President Coolidge signed the Naval Air Expansion Act. This will spend $100 million to increase our naval air capabilities to 1,000 aircraft and maintain it. It would be quite the image to see 1,000 aircraft flying above our waters, protecting our interests. Also, 2 dirigibles will join the fleet at $1,500,000 each. Massive metal-framed airships hovering are quite the statement. And even when an aircraft is lost, plans are immediately drawn for its successor, as is the case for the recently wrecked Shenandoah from last year. The same metal that circled its frame is now going towards another as its replacement. It seems very little can stop the momentum of our aviation inventiveness. Next weekend, in several states of our republic, there will be summer air meets, shows of circus-like performances as well as daring stunts, places to highlight the next upgrade of an airframe or the more powerful engine. Our American public sees this as entertainment and fun, regardless of the dangers present. Because just like the automobile, our papers are also reporting air crashes almost daily. The price of progress, it seems, we are willing to pay. Progress typically advances so gradually that it escapes our notice. Yet, from time to time, one is compelled to pause and observe how swiftly the world has changed recently. For mankind has not merely built a new machine, it has required a new road, a road through the sky. Where that road shall ultimately lead, no man can say. Only a few evenings ago, New York witnessed a simulated aerial attack as part of military exercises. Smoke streams, observation aircraft, and air defenses were tested in a manner that would have seemed fantastical to an earlier generation. Yet the same machine employed for military purposes is also carrying letters across the continent, surveying distant lands, and drawing crowds of curious citizens to flying exhibitions. It is this versatility that makes aviation so difficult to define. The airplane is not merely a weapon, nor merely a vehicle, nor merely a spectacle. It appears capable of being all three. Perhaps on the new road it will carry letters more swiftly between distant cities. Perhaps it will bring nations closer together. Perhaps it will reveal uses not yet imagined by the most ambitious engineer. The future of aviation remains unwritten. What seems clear, however, is that America intends to play a significant role in writing it. Thank you for your kind attention. Now, we go to Jimmie Sparks at the wires. Jimmy?
Here is all the news from the wires, folks. White Plains, New York. Wedded 32 years ago at 14, woman secures annulment. Woman finally receives annulment of marriage to man, 20 years her senior, after proven she was married under the legal age. It took 32 years to realize 14 was a bit young. Beverly Hills, bandits clad in tuxedos hold up wedding party. 3 tuxedo-clad robbers held up wedding guests with revolvers, stealing jewelry worth $6,000 and $10 in cash. The $10 in cash seems excessive to me, folks. Chicago, women faint at big mass. Over 60 women faint at massive Chicagoland Christian mass. The largest religious gathering in American history held upwards of 500,000 people. 500,000 people gathered in one place. I suspect the summer heat may have played a role. Maryland, convict flees on horse. Officials ask local police to help search for reformatory escapee who stole government horse to make his daring escape. Steed has 1 white foot and long tail. So authorities have supplied a detailed description of the horse, not of the fugitive. Little Bighorn, Montana, restage stand of Custer. To celebrate the 50th anniversary of General Custer's famous last stand, the U.S. 7th Cavalry will gather with members of Indian nations. One suspects the descendants of General Custer's opponents may remember the occasion somewhat differently. Winthrop, Massachusetts, wife spoiled fake count. Count A, Paul Monty was arrested for deserting his wife and fraudulently claiming to be a French count. Women have been his ruin, according to his wife. Have they called Paris to make doubly sure he wasn't really a count? That's all for the wires, folks. Back to you, Edwin.
Thank you, Jimmy. It's hard to believe such stories fill our newspapers, and yet they do. And now, we hear about the sporting news of our week. Here is Colonel Frederick Davies with The Measure of Men.
Good evening. The field of sport never tires. The sporting pages arriving from Britain today carry encouraging news indeed for American golf. Earlier dispatches informed us that 6 Americans stood among the leaders in the British Open Championship, while reports from St. Anne's placed Mr. Bobby Jones and Mr. Fred Melhorn tied at the halfway mark of the competition. And as we prepared for this evening's broadcast, word has reached us that Mr. Jones has gone on to capture the championship. An American amateur in Britain against some of the finest professionals in the game. I shall confess that I am eager to see tomorrow's newspaper headlines and learn the full particulars. Golf is not a game of great speed, nor is it a contest of brute strength. It is a test of judgment, patience, and self-command. A young man may possess a powerful swing. He may strike the ball farther than his competitors, but championships are often won by those who master themselves as completely as they master the course. That an amateur should achieve such a distinction reminds us that devotion to excellence remains one of the finest qualities in sport. Youth may bring vigor, experience may bring wisdom. The champion is often the competitor who learns to unite both. Our attention remains in Britain for another noteworthy result from the Wimbledon Tennis Championships. Miss Elizabeth Ryan and Miss Mary Kay Brown of the United States have defeated the celebrated partnership of Mademoiselle Suzanne Lenglen and Mademoiselle Didi Glasto. Reports indicate that it is the first time in 7 years that Miss Lenglen has found herself on the losing side of a championship doubles contest. That fact alone speaks volumes regarding the achievement. There are many forms of athletic excellence. Golf, as we have discussed, is often a solitary test. The competitor stands alone with his judgment, his skill, and his conscience. Doubles tennis demands something different. It requires confidence in one's partner, faith that when the moment arrives, another will be equal to the task. Each player must not only perform her duties well, but understand and anticipate the actions of another. In that respect, doubles competition resembles many of life's most worthwhile endeavors. Success is seldom achieved entirely alone. Miss Lenglen's remarkable record deserves every measure of respect. champions elevate their sport by establishing standards others strive to attain. Yet there is absolute honor in those who rise to meet such standards. Today, that honor belongs to Miss Ryan and Miss Brown. Their victory reflects great credit upon American sport and reminds us that determination, preparation, and teamwork remain qualities admired in every nation. Thank you for listening. I've been Colonel Frederick Davies with The Measure of Men.
Thank you very much, Colonel. It's good news indeed hearing about such sporting triumphs from across the ocean, especially within the hour. Now, tonight's first generous sponsor is Lenore Ankle Reducers. Slender ankles can be yours.
Well, butter my biscuit. That gal's ankles are swell, not swollen.
Your ankles aren't thick, they don't make me sick, Lenore. So dainty and cute, no need to wear boots, Lenore.
How can they be so becoming? Your girly ways, I'm succumbing.
It slips on like a glove, with so much to love, Lenore. With nothing to rub or massage like a schlub, Lenore.
Worn under stockings without detection. I admire your ankles upon inspection.
Lenore ankle reducer,
So great, only swollen ankles you'll hate.
used by actresses so prominent, thin ankles make you dominant.
Lenore ankle reducers. Whir!
Lenore ankle reducer.
Next, for those of us enthralled with Hollywood glamour, Miss Vivian Cross brings us the Hollywood Eye.
Hello, my dears. Once more, I'm afraid you'll have to hear me gush about my absolutely favorite film star, the very handsome Rudolph Valentino. Now, I know there are gentlemen in Hollywood, and handsome gentlemen besides, but none seem quite capable of causing such a flutter among the ladies as Mr. Valentino. Indeed, if the latest whispers from the film Colony are to be believed, he has caused rather a flutter among the stars themselves. Listen to this little morsel that has drifted eastward from Hollywood. Pola, Greta, and Rudy form that familiar bit of romantic geometry. According to Hollywood rumors, Rudy finds Miss Garbo charming. It follows that, for the time being at least, Rudy's romance with Pola is sidetracked. And not long ago, the film world thought that Miss Negri was about to become Mrs. Valentino. Now, my dears, I would never claim to know the truth of such stories. Hollywood could manufacture rumors almost as quickly as it manufactures motion pictures. Still, one cannot help but wonder. Miss Garbo has certainly been attracting attention ever since Torrent introduced American audiences to her mysterious charms. As for Miss Negri, she remains every bit the Gravers' European star, though lately she seems to have been appearing in the gossip columns more often than on the picture screen. Perhaps that is unfair of me. After all, if Mr. Valentino himself were paying me compliments, I dare say I should find it very difficult to concentrate on my work as well. And if I sound just a touch jealous, my dears, I assure you it's only because half the young women in America are jealous too. And speaking of Mr. Valentino, anticipation continues to build for its forthcoming picture, The Son of a Sheikh. The film sees Rudy returning to the desert romance that first captured the imagination of moviegoers some years ago. Word from Hollywood is that he will appear in a dual role, portraying both the son and the father. If that is true, audiences shall have the pleasure of seeing twice as much Valentino for the price of a single ticket, which hardly seems a bad bargain at all. Now, whether there is truly anything to these love triangle rumors, or whether some clever publicity fellow has been earning his wages, I could not possibly say. Hollywood has always possessed a talent for keeping us guessing. Still, if there is even a grain of truth to it, I confess I shall be watching with great interest. And if there is no truth to it at all, well, it certainly's given us all something delightful to discuss while we wait for Mr. Valentino's next picture, which I suppose may have been the intended purpose. For my part, I can scarcely wait to see The Son of the Shape, and you may rest assured that should any further morsels of Hollywood gossip find their way across my desk, I shall pass them along at once. After all, my dears, I suspect many of you enjoy these stories every bit as much as I do. I have been Vivian Cross with the Hollywood Eye.
Thank you, Miss Cross. It is well known how Mr. Valentino commands such enthusiastic admiration. But for now, we turn to the wise advice of Mrs. Kedar with Women's Concerns.
Good evening, ladies. A set of students at an all-girls school has asked me a fair number of questions. It behooves me to answer them one at a time, because girls their age can use all the advice they can get. They write, Dear Mrs. Kedar, will you answer these 6 questions for a group of girls? First, can a person really love more than once? Second, is a homely girl justified in going with and writing to a boy who goes with girls of a bad reputation? Third, can a person love whomsoever she wishes? Fourth, if a boy asks a girl to come to see him, should she do it if it is not convenient for him to come to see her? Fifth, does a boy admire a refined, home-loving girl more than he does an all-around sport? Sixth, if a boy says he will quit going with a girl if she does not kiss him, what should she do? OGS Seniors. Dear class of senior girls, first, there are hearts that are capable of only one love, but these are rare. Most of our hearts are built on the skyscraper hotel plan and can house a constant procession of guests. We cannot only love many times, but we can love individuals who are entirely different. Second, there is no more reason why a nice, homely girl should go with an undesirable boy than there is why a pretty girl should. We are known by the company we keep, and no girl should associate with a boy who runs with wild women. Third, no, we cannot make ourselves love to order. We cannot coerce our affections. Our heart is a law unto itself. We do not know why we love, nor why we cease to love. This would be a happier world if we could make ourselves fall madly in love with the nice, practical, sensible, suitable man or woman we should love, instead of having our errant fancies wander off after those whom it is our undoing to love. Fourth, it is the height of impropriety for a boy to ask a girl to come to see him or for her to go. If he wants to see her, he will find some way to do so. Fifth, there is no standardized type of girl that boys admire. Some prefer the home-loving life, others the sport. It is entirely a matter of taste. Sixth, if a boy tells a girl that the price of his attentions must be paid in kisses, it shows that he is a cad, and she should tell him that she doesn't buy her dates that way. They come too high. I hope that helps with your questions, girls. Sincerely yours, Beecher Kedar.
A kind thank you, Mrs. Kedar. I certainly hope all those answers can help the youthful and curious among your listeners. Tonight's second generous sponsors are Gum Rub. Would you drink from a poisoned well?
Don't go to bed without using Gum Rub.
Hey, your gums are pouring poison into your mouth. Pyorrhea and serious gum diseases. Hey, I believe it's time you start rubbing it out. Germ-laden mucin, your breath, it smells like cheeses. Gum Rub, you stick your finger in the jar. Gum Rub, massage your gums, it ain't bizarre. Gum Rub, circulating that healthy blood. Gum Rub, salivating glands start the flood. Gum Rub, it's nice and pleasant to the taste. Gum Rub, the end of you being disgraced. Perfected by an eminent authority. Natural without the use of medication. Dr. Klein gives as the priority. Gum rub is your pyorrhea liberation. Gum rub. Gum rub.
And so, we come to the close of another evening's broadcast. Tonight, we have spoken of aviation and the remarkable pace at which mankind continues to expand its horizons. We have heard of Americans distinguishing themselves upon the golf links and tennis courts of Great Britain. Miss Cross has shared the latest whispers from Hollywood, where romance appears every bit as dramatic beyond the camera as upon the screen. And Mrs. Kader has reminded us that the questions of youth concerning friendship, courtship, and the future remain much the same from one generation to the next. The world changes quickly. New inventions appear, others are refined, new names rise to prominence while familiar names fill the headlines. It's comforting to know that some things remain constant. Men and women continue to strive for excellence. Young people continue to wonder what the future holds. All of us, regardless of age, remain curious about what may await just beyond the horizon. Whether that horizon lies across an ocean, upon a sporting field, within a motion picture studio, or perhaps somewhere above the clouds, it seems there is always another destination towards which mankind is inclined to travel. On behalf of us all here at W.T.Q.X., this is Edwin Allen, wishing you a pleasant evening, a restful night, and a prosperous tomorrow. And we thank you, friends, as always, for your kind attention.
Ba-da-ba.